When we look at the political history in Ethiopia, right, you come to understand that it has changed ethnic groups for quite a while, right? In this period of history, this ethnic group controls this. In that period of history, this ethnic group controls this, right? But in this particular video, we'll be starting in 1994, right? With the Tigrayans entering the corridors of political power in Ethiopia, right? Now, when they entered the government and the political system of Ethiopia, they changed it into a federal government system, right? Which basically meant self governance for the different ethnic groups along the lines of cultural and socio-economic. You can also include military lines, right? So the type of federal government which was established in Ethiopia by the Tigrayans, right, was a system where, right, the different ethnic groups could control their cultural, socio-economic, and military power. Now, when we look at 1994, right, the Tigrayans had the government, right, and they had come to um, be a government, right, that is authoritative, corrupt, and quite brutal, right? They went to an extent to basically tighten the grip of power in their own ethnic group, right? The Tigrayans, at the expense, right, of the power of other ethnic groups, right? Like the Oromo, right? And the Amhara. I can add the Somalis onto that list. When we look at the population size of the Tigrayans, right, they only account for about 6% of the entire population of Ethiopia, right? This comes to about 6 million Tigrayan citizens. So the Tigrayans were able to hold on to their power, right, until about 2018, right, when there were huge protests, right, specifically from the Oromo people, right, which started in 2016, right, and culminated in 2018, right, with the election of the new president of the Democratic Order, Abiy Ahmed, who belongs to the Oromo people. Now, from 2018, right, when Abiy Ahmed got into power, right, he started making sweeping changes within the Ethiopian government, right, particularly changing policies into being a democratic centralized government from a federalized government that the Tigrayans ran, right? Now, in 2020 was the election year in Ethiopia, right? But because of the COVID pandemic, right, um, Ahmed, Abiy Ahmed, decided to postpone the elections, right? But the Tigrayans, right, found this very suspicious, right? And they ended up carrying on with their own local elections in Tigray. Now, the Tigrayans have always been suspicious of the Oromo leader, Abiy Ahmed, right? Because it seems as if he was totally destroying their legacy that they left, right, of a federal government system. Now, because they were very suspicious, they didn't listen to the government, the Ethiopian government, saying that it's going to postpone the elections. They went on and had their own elections and elected their own new leaders, right? Now, the Ethiopian government called the Tigrayan region's elections null and void and illegal, right? And the Tigrayans said the government in Addis Ababa is illegal, right? And this is where and how the Tigrayan war started in 2020 November. Now, as the war in Tigray waged on, right, a number of atrocities were reported, right? I'll focus on two specific atrocities that were committed by the Eritrean soldiers, right? As we know, the Eritrean soldiers were called on to help the Ethiopian government, right, try and basically disarm the Tigrayans, right? So the first incident is recorded in Axiom, right, where hundreds upon hundreds of civilians were killed by Eritrean soldiers. Investigations were conducted, and this was declared a crime against humanity, right? And the second flashpoint happened in is known as the Maikandra massacre, in which Eritrean soldiers massacred about 600 civilians. So the war was quite devastating, but the TPLF, now the TPLF is basically the militia or the political organized force of the Tigrayans, right? Basically stands for the Tigrayan People Liberation Front, right? This was the militia basically fighting the Tigrayan war on behalf of the Tigrayans. Now, the PLF managed to basically take over the capital of Tigray, which is Mekele, right? They were able, but of course, in war, they were wrestled. They fought against the Ethiopian government, changing hands, but they eventually came to be defeated by the Ethiopian government, right? Who was fighting alongside the Eritrean soldiers, right? And the Fano militia soldiers. So just a concluding look on Tigrayans. Tigrayans, they're quite a formidable fighting force, right? A lot of them got their training from the Eritrean government, right? And because they were a federal government, they controlled a lot of their own arms, right? They were a very organized army compared to certain militias that you find in Ethiopia, right? And it is recorded that it was the Tigrayans, right, that actually defeated the Italians, right, in their project of colonization. So the Tigrayans are the ones which prevented Ethiopia in falling into the colonizer's hands, in which the colonizer was Italy. So the Tigrayan War ended in November of 2022 with the Tigrayans signing a peace deal with the Ethiopian government. This was done in South Africa, and it ushered a peace, right, in Ethiopia, right, but only for a short time.